With that, Mas.
Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for being here on a rainy day. Like Tina said, I have a lot to say. Actually, somebody read me. They do the, the galvanic skin response, where you hold something in your hand and then they touch you. And they said, I have nothing to say unless it's needed. So how many people are new to me? Oh, quite a few, good number of you. Do you guys know anything about me? Maybe my podcasts, a little bit of that? Okay. My podcast, by the way, is really good information, a lot of good content. I have a lot to say there on, say, the whys of life, because everybody wants to know the whys of life, right? How stuff works, how stuff really works, because a lot of times, we go through life and we don't understand why things happen to us over and over and over and over again. Especially I'm just seeing in that group right here, things that you experience over and over. So trying to get out of that, again, the whys of life and how to have it all. It's called exponential intelligence, sorry. I haven't had my coffee yet. I'll warm up though. Actually, I'm just kind of scanning the group. Okay, for some of you who are kind of new to me, I can read you just like an MRI. I can kind of pick up questions on individuals. I can tap into your life, your present moment, your previous moments, your past history, your previous lifetimes. I can talk to the dead or the dead people hanging out with you, all that stuff. And then from there, I can change your future for you. And again, I don't create your future. Okay, everybody has, say, different possibilities of their future. I mean, like right now, you could have been somewhere else, right? That's a different event for you, right? So, in that instance, depending on where you are now, depends on where you are going to be in the future, right? Because everything's related. So from that, I can pick, say, the highest possibility of your futures, and then, say, meld that into you. And then that's how your life transforms. For those people who don't know how I got my abilities, I had 2 near-death experiences. Again, I'm a computer programmer, so I'll look at this from a computer programmer perspective. I'll even use, say, programming language. Okay? I'm not really, say, that spiritual or religious, although if you are religious or spiritual, you'll start to see your own religion, your own belief system at a much truer, much higher value. Okay? So I'm kind of like that plastic commercial. I don't know if you've heard that before. They don't make the cars, they make the cars better. Have you guys heard that? So basically that's me. I don't make the religions, I don't make your spirituality. I don't teach you another modality. I don't even teach you what's right or wrong. Okay? I just help you become really aware of who you are, and that's really today's topic. I am, right? Of who you are, because a lot of you, by the way, think that you understand who you are, but you really don't. You really, really don't. You don't understand who you truly are, and that's why you're distorted. That's why you have, say, situations or a sense of lack, and that's why you have, illnesses. That's why you still have, say, problems with relationships, money situations, all that. It's not because of, say, something outside of you or, say, something, say, physical that's pushing on you, or even a physical, say, instance. Like, if only the economy, say, changed, then I'll be a lot better. If my spouse did this, I'll have more of happiness, or, why can't, say, my boss or company be another way, and I'll be better. It's really not about that, guys. If you look at your life, patterns from what I see overall, again, look at those patterns, you'll see that the main ingredient in all those patterns that you face is, who's it? You, right? That I am, that we are, right? And a lot of times, since we don't understand why those situations happen to us, those situations happen to us over and over and over again. Right? Have you ever noticed once you start to realize something in your life, that pattern never appears for you? Does that make sense to you? Why does that happen? Again, start to ask questions like that. So if situations that happen for you over and over again, start to understand why. It's not people outside of you, okay? It's not, say, the experiences outside of you or anything like that. It's actually what you're doing, the frequencies that you're resonating. And I talk a lot about frequencies, and we'll get into that in just a moment. It is actually the frequencies that you're resonating that is, say, attracting whatever you're experiencing. So let's just get back for the new people. Again, why? I'm a computer programmer, by the way, or I was. I don't do that anymore. It's been a while. I've had 2 near-death experiences. The first one really opened me up to, say, understanding the I am. Okay, so I'll just go through that. Even for the people who've heard it before, I'll tell that story again just because it allows you to really identify with who you are at a much, much higher level, because I didn't understand it myself at first, and that's what I was searching for all the time. By the way, as I'm speaking with you, maybe not to you, but with you, I'm always working on you. Okay? Creating or generating frequencies that help you transform. Some people might be feeling a little different already, even if you're new to me. Does that make sense to you guys? Right? Okay. Why is that? It's because I am, really. I'm not creating, or I'm not, say, I don't have a modality that I go, oh, okay, now I have to, say, generate these frequencies, right? Or I have to, say, do something or meditate on something to do that. I've gotten to the point that, again, I help transform people all over the world just by being here. Okay? It's not a special gift, guys. We're all this way. Okay? I'm actually here to remind you that we're all this way. This is who you truly are. So my abilities that you think are really strong for some of you are actually, say, a reflection or a reminder of, say, your abilities, if you guys understood who you truly are. Okay? So let's go back to that first near-death experience, and then I'll take questions, any type of questions. And again, guys, kind of keep them broad. Okay, I know I can work on you personally. I don't have to, say, know specifically what your situation is to, say, work on you or help you transform. Okay, and I'll explain why that happens. But that first near-death experience, I was really searching for a lot of us, for about, say, 99% of the population. I was really searching for that, say, one mathematical equation that defines all life, right? Like quantum physicists, right? What's that base? What's that key? And I went into religion, and that's why I read all the religions, the major religions. Anyway, there's hundreds of them, if not thousands of different religions. But the major religions, I read about them. I studied them, and it opened up a lot of, say, questions, more questions, than answers for me, because a lot of things didn't, say, quite fit. First of all, just overall, why do you have to, say, suffer in this lifetime, like many of you do, to actually, say, ascend on the other side? Does that make sense for you guys, or is that just some ploy for people to, say, control you, right? Those are the kind of questions that came up. And you know what, guys, just to tell you, I've worked on tens of thousands of people. People who suffer in this lifetime, they tend to suffer on the other lifetime, because I can see the other side. Okay? They don't go anywhere. People who, say, commit suicide in this lifetime, they don't get free. When they cross over, they still, say, suffer, probably even more, because there's no time, there's no space there. So they're suffering forever and ever. And in some religions, they call that purgatory. That's the real meaning of purgatory. So in religion, I'm not dissing any religion. There's a lot of good information that's there in religion. Okay? So you don't have to walk away from it, like some of you who've walked away from religion in this back group there. You guys have, for a few of you guys have walked away from religion thinking that, well, now that I've walked away, I'm going to be free from it. But you really haven't. It's kind of like a teenager, right, who's mad at something. They walk away and they do something in spite, right, of what their parents say tell you, right? And you think you're going to be free from that. You're not. It's still in the back of your mind. I can just see it plain as day. I don't want to point anybody out, but it's in that quadrant. All right? So, anyway, so those things, and by the way, as I tap into, say, stories about you or, say, subgroups, okay, what happens is that it's like I'm working on that, say, subgroup as well, where you're generating, say, different types of frequencies to allow you to, say, release and understand, so you can benefit from why you walked away from religion, for example. Okay? But anyway, back in my teens, late teens, studied the religions. It didn't really do a lot for me, although I learned a lot. Right? It was really, really, really good information. And if you really read, the text, any religious text, you'll start to understand, say, the workings on it. Back then, also, they didn't have, say, the words that we do now. And even now, if I try to describe something in the vocabulary that we have, back then they only had, say, like 100 or 300 like different words, total in their language. When they were writing the Bible, the Quran, all those. It's pretty hard to explain the high-level stuff that I have issues with trying to explain, at, say, the command of our language here. So again, it's kind of not dumbed down, but very different. And then we understand it differently. So anyway, religion didn't do it quite. It opened up a lot of good avenues, a lot of good questions. So I went towards trying to make a lot of money or success habits, business people and so on. Luckily, our families, were medium well-off individuals. My dad's a surgeon, so a lot of influential people we hung out with. And, as I tapped into their families, well, they were having, say, similar issues as well. So money wasn't really the answer. A lot of you think that, if you had so much money, you'll be really good, you'll be happy, you'll have that perfect spouse and so on. Even now, I work with a lot of people who make a lot of money. They're just magnified. Whatever issues that you guys have gets magnified by it, guys. They get to choose some of their problems, but a lot of the internal problems, right, that we have, it's the exact same thing, guys, just magnified even more. Okay? Some of those individuals they've actually sold their soul to the devil, so to speak. Their issues are very, very different than ours. So some of you actually have sold your soul to the devil. Yeah, actually, yes, quite a few of you actually, for a lot less, than the wealthy individuals. So you got kind of. We won't get into that. Anyway, so that didn't do it for me, right? The business stuff didn't do it for me. The motivational speakers, again, I learned quite a bit from it, okay? Just to give you an example, you can learn a lot from it. Let's look at Wayne Dyer, right? You guys know who Wayne Dyer is, right? He died, and he had, a lot of issues that he was trying to resolve. Again, fantastic gentleman. He uncovered nuggets of, truth that helped, millions of individuals, but he couldn't quite, figure out, right, what the base issues was, because he was still addicted, he was still abusive. Somebody, and the reason why I know this, somebody asked me, it's like, well, what do you think of Wayne Dyer? So I tapped into him, and I'm going, oh, wow. He was still, controlled by, a deeper level, something, spirit, entity, whatever, that controlled him, and he was actually trying to get away from the distortions that controlled him. So again, a lot of drug addictions, a lot of abuse, and then it came out later on. It's like, wow, my readings was accurate on that. So why would somebody at that level that helped, millions of people, right, still be, faced with situations like that? Kind of reminds me of religion, doesn't it? Right? It's supposed to help you in the afterlife or in this lifetime. right? So why did that happen? Again, the core level issues that he was trying to uncover, and that was his journey, well, he didn't quite uncover them, so he crossed over. Actually kind of helped him out, but after he was dead. But anyway, the reason being, again, is he didn't know who he actually was at a deeper level, right? And that's why he kept, circling around same issues over and over and over again. So what happened, what identified, or what came to me was my first near-death experience. It was in my mid-20s. It was a college job. It was a warehouse, Target warehouse on 65 in Fridley. I don't know if you guys know that area. I was working out there. I worked in the rail cars, distribution. Anyway, I had my jaws crushed on one of the moving walls inside the rail cars that keep the products in place. It was stuck, so I kept pulling, and my jaws got crushed. At that time, okay, the most amazing event happened to me, guys. And you guys might think it's scary and all that, and thinking about it is. But I started to see myself from a mirror perspective, really, and it was quite amazing. So I started to see myself again for who I truly was, and in that, when I was seeing myself, I was seeing of accumulation of, my experiences that I've had in this lifetime. And that's what most of us think we are, right? Of an accumulation of our experiences up to this point, right? And then we base our decisions around that as well. But as we pulled further and further away from myself, I started to question, it's like, well, if I'm there, what am I doing here? Because my consciousness was leaving, right? And then that's when that answer came to me, right? That one equation I think that we're all looking for is that I wasn't an accumulation of my lifetime experiences here. As soon as I understood that I had died, crossed over, or disconnected, my full memory of who I was really came into me. I was so grand. It's just like the universe opened up for me, guys. The level of love that you feel at that level, the level of wholeness or completeness that we're all looking for in physical terms, right? And even in love, all that came into me much grander than anything that you'll feel here physically. Okay? I always say if you multiply anything that you felt here physically, okay, even love, if you multiply that by about 1,000,000 times, you'll get that feeling of what it's like to be who you truly are at that level. Okay? So that was that experience. And again, we don't have to go into the details of my first death experience or the second near death, which actually opened me up to the realities of actually using what's up there or using the knowledge that's out there for all of us. Because again, I'm no different than you guys. We're all pretty much created the same way. We have different experiences, right? But we're all created with the same, settings and so on, right? Same programmings. But that near-death experience, once you know the truth of who you truly are, well, it starts pouring in you, right? And it starts coming into you and starts, I want to say, overtaking you or consuming you in a good way. Because we all want to be, consumed in that state of grace or that state of love, right? Is that what we want to do? So anyway, so what are my abilities from that, second near-death experience, which is a drowning accident, again, it's all on the website, brought me to this, knowledge or this awareness that's, well, we think it's up there, but actually I live from what's up there here, okay? Because that's what, our true, destiny is or our true goal is. It's really not to help people or save the planet or anything like that. It's really to understand who we truly are at a much, much deeper level. And then the planet, if we all understood who we truly are, the planet doesn't need to be saved. Do you know what I mean? We'd all be good. We wouldn't need locks on our doors. We wouldn't have to control a lot of things that we do because none of that stuff would happen, right? So it's really about, understanding who you truly are at a much, much deeper level. I can take some questions about anything. Yes?
So what
yes.
I want to ask is about alleviating stuck energy that has physically manifested in one's body.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us are focused on having a lifestyle in which we are trying to be healthy in terms physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Sure.
But when aches or pains don't go away with medical treatment, what can we do to remove the stuck energy?
Right. So exactly, that's what I was talking about. So maybe it was you I was tapping into. Again, recycling. Why does that happen? Because there's, well, let me just kind of explain it. The physical layer, okay, and do you want to come up? I can actually work on, say, like your midsection there. Just a lot of stuff happening there for you that you can never really let go of. So you have your lower level frequencies, and that's like foods, right? Mantras that we do, surgeries, chiropractics, medicines, so on like that. That's that base layer that we have. Okay, you move up a little bit into that second layer, and these are the chakra systems, right? This is where like your intuition comes to play. Your, you doing okay, sweetie? Good. This is where energies, psychic abilities, intuition, right? Again, energy systems of the body, modalities, right? This is where, say, most of the people, or spirituality, actually, okay? This is where most of the people, say, resonate at. And then there's that third and fourth layer, okay? It's a bridge layer. And then you get into the fifth layer. It's that bridge because it separates physical reality, which we are stuck in, into, say, spiritual reality. It crosses over. And that's where, say, your true, say, base, or what I call your blueprint level is at. So if you can edit things at that level, then things just transform for you. And that's what I do. I'm at that, say, spirit level, your core level blueprint of how your life is dictated. Okay? You guys might think that, your life, you kind of create it as you go by, you make your own decisions. It's not true, guys. None of that is true. All of you are running programs. Again, I hate to say it for you. It's not free will. Okay? You don't make the choices that you make here in physical form. There are patterns that dictate that you make certain choices. Are those choices, say, predetermined? No, they're not. But you're on that path. You can only make certain choices. Does that make sense? Okay? And those certain path that you're in, right? Say destructive behavior for people, right? Why do those people always make the choices? You think, well, they don't have the willpower, they don't have that. It's really not true. It's because something else controls and says, hey, you can only make, say, choices from this aisle. And then that's all they have to choose from. How are you feeling, sweetie? So that'll release all your cultural stuff, all the, say, familial cultural stuff, and then you'll actually get to move on, and this area will actually feel a lot better for you. But again, going down to the underlying frequency, right? Okay? If you don't change those underlying patterns, guys, nothing in your life changes. People go to, and who has a question? And then, Tina, you can pick whoever. So people go to psychologists or psychiatrists for 20, 30 years, and they come to me for like 1 or 2 sessions, and they're good to go, right? Because again, I get down to the core level frequencies. Oh, yes.
I've had addictions most of my life, and I brought my son with me.
Okay.
I'm just wondering how that all passes on, and I was also told that he has an attached spirit.
Your son?
Yeah.
Actually, you're attached to him.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Yeah, you're very attached to him.
Mm-hmm.
You actually say control him, and that's the attached spirit that's on you.
Interesting.
And that's basically by your family culture. And that's how you always say, try to safeguard yourselves, because you guys are a safe type family, you know what I mean? Very careful. Does that make sense? So you have, say, even if he grows up, you'll have, say, that attachment over him that binds him. Okay? And again, this probably came from, say, some level, and now they have, say, research that people have, for example, people who have been in, like World War, or World Wars, or any type of, say, distortion like that. It's actually encoded in their DNA, and then, say, their offspring, or the family tree down below. They have issues, same issues that they have with people who've been in war before. Why does that happen? I call it spiritual DNA. But same thing with you, hon. So at some level, I think your family was really, say, kind of not abused, but maybe threatened or so on like that. So what happens? Do you want to come up? I'll just free you really quick.
Sure.
It doesn't take long. Anyway, it's a lot of stuff in your head. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You're always confused. It's giving me a headache. Just seeing it. No. Actually, I don't absorb any people's issues. But, so what happens is, again, at some level, try to protect your family. You've created, say, an image. You know how you, say, want to cover somebody up if they're getting abused or something, right? You want to protect them, right? So that's what these guys do in their family. And they create that so real that, say, psychics or whoever at a lower level might see, say, an entity or another spirit attached onto him. It's actually her creating this, say, umbrella over him, trying to protect him. Same thing happened to her, right? So her parents, do you have an older sister? Was your older sister mother to you, or she feels like she took care of you more, or watched over you more, or whatever? Does that make sense? Yeah. So even her older sister, right? And she's just confirming that, does that, and since it's an older sister, that's what they do, right? So now she's got a couple people in her head that say want to not control her, but want to, say, save her, right? But what happens when you, say, love somebody that much? You start to suffocate them. You know what I mean? They can't, say, spread their wings out. So that's your real issue. Okay? And as I'm working on you, I'm working. See, I actually got some really nice abilities, by the way. So he's a little different. So really foster that in him instead of, say, protecting him. Let him get hurt. Okay? I know that sounds kind of scary to you. Don't worry, it sounds scary to my wife too. But really, I let my kids, I calculate, say, what the risk is, how bad they could get hurt or affected. And then if it's not that bad, usually for me, it's like, oh, they're not going to die. Then it's good enough. Yeah. So, and then that's how they learn. That's how they become to be strong, say, adults later on, and that's how they, say, start to think on their own. Does it make sense? Because it doesn't allow you to think on your own. Yeah. So that's why. So for you, hon, you probably have a harder time than he will. What's your name, what? Tristan? Cool name. Very bright eyes. He can actually see right through you. He can see right through anybody. So instead of distorting that, okay, why don't we just allow him, say, to do that for him? Can actually see. He can actually see the truth in anybody, guys. Okay, really powerful. But at this age, just getting distorted. He'll see things, he'll say things, and then, say, the public won't accept it. School won't accept it, and then he'll shut himself down, thinking that he's messed up, right? So let's not let that happen. There you go. There you go. See, how are you feeling? Good, huh? That's the real you. I mean, it's not me or anything like that. Yeah, for you, hon, you'll just get really more confused and distorted because that's the way you live anyway. You'll get more of that as you say, pull out of it. Okay, sweetie? So it's just a detox. By the way, guys, even if I don't work on you, you will get, say, some level of detox, okay? And detox, think of it this way. I'm kind of like that surgeon, you know? I remove, say, the malignant frequencies in you, right? And then you are in recovery. Some people have a hard time recovering, okay? The surgery was, say, successful, but again, some people have a hard time letting go of the old paradigms. Does somebody else have a question, just so we can make it efficient? And then some people, about 30, 40%, they just go forward. You know, it's kind of like a day-in operation. They walk in, walk out. You know, they don't have to, say, recover. They're good to go. The other 30, 40%, they have to recover. They have to let go. They have to take time. So who's got the question?
I feel like I've been able to channel energy for so long that,
Sure.
and that it's powerful, that I should know what to do with it, and that I should be able to release what I feel I have blocked everywhere.
Yeah, you do have blocks. So you have a channel, a deep channel that runs right along your chest, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know. Does it really? And it's not pure source energy for you, hon, and that's why it blocks you. It really creates, say, a rut in you. The more you use it, the darker you'll get. Okay? The more controlling, say, that frequency that comes into you. Channeling anything, guys, is not, say, the best because, if you're channeling something, that means there's something else, some other frequency is running inside you, controlling, right? Kind of like a river that is really, say, strong. It'll create its own, say, shores, right, or borders. I see that in you. The more that you use it, the stronger it gets for you, and then you get controlled, and then later on in life, from what I'm seeing, and I can delete it for you from here.
What?
Actually, I can delete it, that channel, and just kind of switch you over to, say, that pure source channel. Okay, that won't distort you. You might lose your abilities for a little bit. It's kind of like changing cable providers. You know, one cable provider, bad service, you know, it messes you up, costs you a lot of money. The other, say, cable, yeah, you can come up if you want. I can work on you from there, either way. Anyway, the other cable provider, pure source, a truer definition of what we call God or your higher self, you know, that doesn't charge you. In fact, the more you use it, your abilities, the higher or the stronger that you get. Okay?
So it shouldn't be charged? You shouldn't?
What?
You shouldn't feel the energy like forcing?
Oh, you can. Oh, sure. You can, but again, it's not from, say, a pure source frequency for you. And you'll see what I mean. Here we go. So your energies or the channel or whatever that you get is really from like a really, really old woman, maybe a great grandmother type feel or something like that. By the way, does, say, mental instability run in your family home as you get older?
I don't think so.
Senility, dementia as you guys age? I think it does, but from what I'm seeing, the reason why, if you look back in your history, your family history, you'll see a few individuals who kind of, say, lost where they've been and so on, because, again, they get controlled by somebody else. So that's what happens, all right? So look in your family tree. I'm sure there's enough people still living. If you look in your family tree, you'll see people with really good gifts like you. As they've aged, they've lost their mental capacity. Okay? That's why that happens. There you go, sweetie. How are you feeling?
I still have all that energy.
Sure. Yeah, and again, energy, it's a different form of energy. Even Jesus said that anybody can heal, right? Just be careful how they heal you, right? Make sure it's from God. So, or I say pure source. Does that make sense? So yeah, sure. There's a lot of people who have, say, fantastic, say, foresight, right? Or say intuition. That doesn't mean if it comes from a dark source. And did you pick somebody, Tina? Go ahead, pick someone. If it comes from a dark source, doesn't mean it's inaccurate, guys. The dark source knows exactly what's out there, just as like pure source does. So again, it could be accurate. All those, say, knowledge that you get doesn't mean that it's good for you, right? Hi.
Hi, Mas.
Hi.
My question is about, you mentioned it, absorbing energy, and I feel that I absorb a lot of energy and often negative, and I don't seem to be able to really bubble up and deflect it, and then I'm kind of...
I think you're doing a lot better, though, from what I'm seeing. Kind of like half of you kind of senses it because you still think you need that for your intuition, but the other half of you is you. Does that make sense for you, or no? Have you like transformed? I think you actually transformed.
Yes.
Yeah. So maybe why you're asking, again, when I see you, or when I see anybody, whether they're here or not, I can summon, say, your spirit, and then that's, again, the back end of how you resonate, okay? So when I see you, I see half of you, say, being aware of your surroundings and, say, normal, and then the other half thinking that your intuition is needed to, say, absorb other people's, say, energies and frequencies to understand what they're about and so on. You don't need to do that. The nice thing is it's like you're moving out more and more. So it's just actually a matter of time. I can speed it up for you, but I think it's a nice learning process for you, so we'll kind of leave it at that. You know what I mean? And just let it take its time for you. Because if it's you're kind of a careful person. If things happen too fast for you, it distorts you. So that's why it's just a nice blending out for you. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But just to know, you're on the right track. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi.
Hi. What's a great way to be able to always project love even though we might be uncomfortable or feel...
What's a great way to what?
Always be able to project more love instead of having a reaction where you maybe put up the wall or you get a little nasty.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you know why you do that? To answer your question quickly, yeah. It's interesting. I'll tell you about you just in a second. Okay? But it's interesting, projecting love, to answer your question, is to have, say, love deep inside you. Okay? And then it just projects automatically. You don't have to, say, force it. Okay? You're actually really trying to identify who you are, and that's why you want to project what's out there for you. You have a bunch of, I don't know if they're like sisters, but they feel like sisters. I don't know if they're like living. I think maybe one or two. One of them might be, say, crossed over. They feel like sisters. Does that make sense for you? Yeah. So anyway, she didn't say cross over. Well, she did, but she's still hanging out with you. Okay? You're becoming more and more aware of what's happening, and I'm just working on you as we speak. Again, in your family, you tend to stay in little groups. Okay? Again, as you become more and more aware of what's happening, you want to, say, protect yourself and move them out, but you don't know how to do it. Right? And that's why you want to, say, create that love space or create that security around you, right? Because you feel like you're being inhabited, basically. Does that make sense? Really? So let's just move them out for you, help them, say, cross over. There we go. So it's good for them because, if they're stuck in you, they still have the same physical issues because they don't know who they are, right? They're still bound by space and time. So, there you go. And then this area, the right side for you, will actually feel really, really good because that is where they, say, enter you, this whole right side area. Does that make sense for you? Okay, because that side is not you. That's like another frequency. That's you. Okay? Let's just talk about frequencies for just a second, guys. So your spirit is around you. It's about arm's length all the way around you. Okay? That's why when we do like the meta healings or group healings, things like that, you start to feel really expansive. You start to feel tall and stuff because you're starting to see from your spiritual eyes or your spiritual senses. Okay? It's a really cool feeling. Anyway, that, say, generates the frequency of our body or our form that we see or feel. Okay? So we're really not, say, solid objects, just like anything else here. We resonate at a frequency, kind of like a hologram. Okay? And once you, say, edit that projector, which is your spirit, like I do, right? I kind of put you in focus, and then your body starts to resonate differently. It's really as simple as that. So, did you have a question, sir?
Yes, can I ask a question? There are many stories out there when people develop spiritual ability or get through transformations, amazing transformations by crossing over and having near-death experience. And almost feels like...
I can't really understand you, I'm sorry. Say that again?
There are stories out there, many stories, when
Stories out there?
people
Okay.
develop spiritual abilities or transformations by experiencing near-death experiences, so to speak.
Sure.
And it almost feels like in order to develop something, you need to fetch it from other side. And my question is, do you think it's possible to develop something like this from life experience without,
Without the near death?
dying life, so to speak?
Oh, definitely. That's what I do for you. There's a lot of people who have near-death ability or near-death, say near-death, and they don't have the abilities. I mean, otherwise it'd be thousands of people like me coming up. And it depends on, say, how you're tailored or groomed. So when you have that near-death ability or experience, right, you have that near-death experience, it opens you up to the other side so you can fetch that information that's up there for you. Okay? So that's really the key. You don't have to have a near-death experience. I've opened up a lot of people's, say, abilities without that near-death. And that's really what I do for you. That same connection that I have, right, where I got through the near-death, that's what I bring to you. I don't bring anything of me into you. I just bring that connection into you, and then you grow and expand on your own. Should we do a 5-minute like meta healing really quick? Okay, for like all of us, and then we'll wrap it up. So whether you're sitting, standing, lying down, if you're new, prefer to stand up, really, if you want to. If you don't, you can stay stuck. It's really up to you, right? It's your choice. So whatever you prefer, you're always in control. Let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. Get a nice deep breath in, just noticing where you are, noticing your surroundings, right? Noticing your body. Okay? I really, really pay attention. For many of you, noticing, say, your fingers, your fingernails. Right? Be aware of your fingernails, your fingers, the joints in your fingers. Again, all those details that are always with you, that they've always been with you, that we don't pay attention to. The bone structure in your hands. As you're becoming aware, let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. And then on the exhale, letting go. Letting go of anything that we need to let go of. Another deep breath in. Again, on the exhale, letting go. Becoming aware of that person next to you, behind you, in front of you. Right? Coming all together because we create strength. We run with the pack. Right? In this case, it's a pure essence of all of us. Right? The highest quality of us coming together as a group to help us transform. Breath in again, nice and deep. Asking ourselves, how do I connect to pure source even stronger? Again, it's non-religious, non-spiritual. It's actually a programming code for you. Okay? Just noticing where you are, noticing your chest space, noticing that sternum, the bone that connects the ribs together in the front for you. Okay? Really opening that up for all of you. Again, I don't have to touch you. You might actually feel, say, that chest plate open out. So you start to understand, without the distortions, the distractions of that accumulation of your life experiences. So you start to see, say, the honest goodness of who you are. There we go. Just noticing your chest again as you take a deep breath in. Some of you might feel good, becoming aware of who you are. From some of you, from what I'm seeing, past memories that you try to put away might be coming back out. Just note it's not there to haunt you. It's actually there to release for you. Right? Kind of cleaning out the closet. And then you'll feel good. Beautiful breath in again. Again, just from the chest area. It's really, really helping you understand who you are. And let's do this. I think most of you are feelers. You can kind of feel things. Things happen for you. Let's do this. Bring in, say, the trueness of your spirit. Okay, again, it's not me, it's you at your purest level. Okay, so we'll count to 13. So it gives me, again, up to 13 to, say, create the patterns or create that path of who you truly are. And we'll pull that into you. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a nice deep breath in. We'll start with 0. Again, just noticing your body, noticing your complete body from toe all the way up to your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just noticing your head space. 7, 8, 9. Start pulling your trueness of who you are into you for your awareness. 10, 11, 12, and 13. You guys feel that? Got a lot easier to breathe, didn't it? That's just not a feeling, guys. That's a space of being. Right? That's your true self. Right? No matter what situation you're in, no matter how dark it is, no matter how addicted you are, your true self is always there. Okay? Just opening up that path for you. And let's anchor that for you. So when it does get kind of dark, you can kind of connect to it easier. Okay? Just noticing that feeling. creating an image. Create an image of what that might feel like, something that's important to you. Image or word. Just note that feeling. Flash that image or word in front of you. Again, note that feeling, flash that image or word, and go back and forth. And then when you flash that image, we'll call it an anchor. You should try this after this meditation as well, or meta healing, and you'll feel that come into you. The more you do it, the more you can stay in this space. The beautiful thing about this is the more you remember, the more you start to, say, run or operate from this space, your true self. And you'll see a lot of transformations in your life just out of this, right? Because it's what's inside you, who you truly are. Right, guys? Taking that beautiful breath in. Noticing that space deep within your chest, your shoulders, your face, your eyes as you open them, or whenever you're ready to open them. Just looking at something inanimate like the walls, the ceiling. Going back into this present moment. There we go. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. I believe Tina has some words, and then we'll wrap it up. Are you guys feeling okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mas.
Just go ahead and take a nice deep breath in, guys. As we exhale, just let us just know that where we are in life is really where we're supposed to be. Okay? In fact, that's one of the fastest ways to get out of where you are in life. Really. So just really enjoy where you are. And again, that sounds strange, but you should really say God into noticing all the details of where you are in life. All right? If you're angry, just be all out angry. Really enjoy that moment. And then you can move on from it. And then all the solutions that you need, you'll find coming forward to you rather than you chasing it. It's better that way. Right? Thanks for being here, guys. Just notice what you notice. And again, thank you.